Hi, Allison. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So this is the agenda for today. Were you able to look over it briefly?
I did.
Okay, and
A little
so
bit.
did you have an update on Sam's case that we talked about last time?
Better. I guess the problem really is more with Joanne. She's just
Okay.
not very receptive to anything I have to offer. She keeps bugging me about him. And I've asked her, have you used some of the strategies that I gave you in class? And
Mhm.
she'll just come back with, I have too much to do. You want me to document every time I have to talk to him? And just not getting a good feeling from her.
Okay. So I know this was an issue last time we did talk, and boundaries, teachers, and
Mhm.
especially her. So I'm wondering, have you ever worked on a case with a student and had her as the main teacher before?
No, this is the first time.
Okay. So maybe it'd be more about figuring out what her maybe teaching style is, or maybe just building your rapport a little bit more with her in general.
Okay. Yeah, she's not somebody I really ever talk to or have a lot to do with, so it might be that we don't really have a good rapport.
Yeah. So I did think about this because I wasn't sure how the relationship was going. So I did come up with some brainstorming things that we could talk about.
Okay.
So one of the options were, do you guys ever eat lunch together or ever in the same staff
Our lunch is
together?
at the same time, but I usually eat in a room or in my office.
Okay.
So I could always go down to the lounge and just maybe engage a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. I think that that is good to build with her, but that also helps build our presence as social workers in the school too. And trust me, I do the same thing many days, but it's always good to try to just make that effort, even if it is once a week.
Right.
And then maybe when you are talking to her, just don't talk about Sam and the case. Just talk about things other than that.
Okay.
And just school in general or whatever the topic is.
Right.
And trying to build a little bit of that rapport.
Okay. Maybe to even develop like some empathy with her, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing.
Yeah, so you guys can sort of get to know each other and maybe
Right.
understand where you're coming from. And then the other option that I did think about was, because I don't know Joanne that well either, but maybe if this continues to be an issue and if you tried all these things, maybe at some point down the road, maybe asking her input about what would work really well in her classroom specifically.
Yeah.
And she might feel like more of the process then.
Okay. Include her more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I know that is stretching what our roles are.
Right.
And, it's hard to accommodate every teacher in every situation with our cases, but it may help with this in particular.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to kind of go the extra mile to get some assistance from people. So, and that's okay.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to see that you're receptive to some of those things.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that any of those would be things that you would want to try?
I think so. The lounge, that'll be a little out of my comfort zone, but I can do that.
Okay.
So.
All right. And then, was there anything else about Sam's case that you wanted to talk about?
No.
Okay.
I showed you, the behavior plan that I had for him.
Oh, right, yes.
So.
And that looked good, and we'll maybe just have to see how that goes with Joanne in her classroom. And but if you ever do need to talk about that later, or to update me on how things are going, or if you have any ideas and you want to bounce off of me, I'm always here, so feel free to bring that up. And I know boundaries can be a big thing here in school.
Yeah.
So then the other thing that I did want to talk to you about was last time we talked about some like the issues with the childcare and with getting around.
Yeah.
And I have noticed that you have been on time and staying the full day, so